Good morning. Today I want to talk to you about something that happened the other day while I was out walking in the morning. So the other morning I was out walking. I usually get up about 4 a.m. I'm usually out walking by 4:30 or 5, sometimes a little later, but I try to get up pretty early and get moving and get things done in the morning that I wouldn't have time to do during the day. So I like to go walking and get my head cleared and get ready for the day a lot of times in the morning. And the other day I was walking. It was a Friday morning, and I'm walking along. I'm probably 15 minutes into walking, and on one of the places that I walk pretty consistently, is by a construction spot. And I'm walking by and I notice 5-10 cars. It's a little later than usual, probably around 6 a.m. And I notice probably 5-10 cars parked there. It's all people getting ready to go for work, right? And they're all construction workers of some sort, whether they're plumbers, electricians, or hanging sheetrock or something, I don't know. But they're all sitting there in their cars and they're all waiting to go to work. And as I walk past each car, I notice that each person's sitting there, some of them are laying back in their seat and just kind of relaxing. But every single one of them sitting there, and they're either playing on their phone, looking at Facebook or searching for something on Google or whatever it is, or playing a game on their phone, or they're listening to the radio. And I'm walking by and I noticed it with the first person, and I'm like, that's pretty typical. I didn't really think much about it. But then I noticed with the second one, the second guy's laying down in his seat and he's got the radio going and he's just laying there. Okay, maybe he's tired. And then I noticed like the third person, the fourth person, fifth person, and all the rest of them, and they're all on their phone, or they're all sitting there spacing out doing nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how much money these people make. I wonder how well they're doing in their life, like financially, emotionally, with their significant other if they have one, with their children if they have one. What's their relationship like with the people they know? What's their faith like? And I'm thinking to myself, are they really having this great life? And I can't tell you if they are or not. But as I'm walking by, I'm thinking to myself that, and I really realize that they're sitting there and they could be doing so much more. So as I'm thinking about it and watching these people, it becomes really clear that they're not putting in the work, right? And they're wasting time when they're sitting there. So as you're thinking about it, think about your own life for a minute and take a few minutes and really think about it. Think about the things that you want to do in your life. Think about where you want to go. Think about the relationships that you have in your life. Think about your career or your job. Think about the money that you make. And then ask yourself, am I putting in the work, the time, and the effort to get it done? Am I putting in the time and the work to get better at everything in my life that I want to get better at? And I think if you stop and look at it, you'll probably realize that there are things in your life that you want to change, and there are things in your life that you want to make better. It's very rare that people don't have something in their life, whether it's family or friends or relationships or public speaking or getting a better job or making more money. It's very rare that people don't have something that they want to improve on. So think about it for a few minutes and then think about what you're going to do with it, right? So back to the story. As I'm thinking about these guys sitting there in their car waiting to go to work, I'm thinking to myself, I worked construction years and years and years ago. And I know that most people in construction, unless you're a general contractor and run your own business, a lot of them probably don't make that much money. You know what I mean? It's one of those jobs that's not a bad job. Like I loved it, but it's not that it's a bad job. It's just, what are you going to do with it, right? You're working super hard for a long time, and you know, if you're working for somebody else, you're probably not making a ton of money, and maybe it pays the bills, but could you be doing more? You know what I mean? Could you become the foreman of that construction company? You know, could you own your own construction company? What else could you do with it? So these people are sitting there, and I'm sure that they all have things they want to change, but they're not doing anything about it, right? They're just sitting there playing around, wasting time. So as you think about it, right? I mean, I go to a job every day. I'm sure that most of you that are listening go to a job every day. And if you do, you know, we always have free time. We always have lunchtime. We always have probably a few minutes before, unless we're always running behind, or a few minutes after, or a few minutes right before we go to bed. Whenever it is, you know, we have free time, but we fill that time, many of us, with things that just aren't useful to us. They just don't serve any purpose, right? When you talk to most people, and more than likely, I would bet you that you would be one of most people watch TV, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great escape. It's a great escape to go watch movies, right? I used to do it for hours and hours on end, but I don't do it anymore because it's a waste of my time. It's great, it's fun, but it's a waste of my time. So if you spend 2, 3, 4 hours a day doing whatever you want, you know, and wasting time, you need to take a few minutes and look at that. You need to look at what you're doing, and you need to look at where your time is spent, right? You probably go to an 8-hour job, an 8-hour a day job, let's say that you spend 30 minutes driving each way. So now you're at 9 hours a day for that one. You got to spend some time at lunch. So now we'll say you get an hour for lunch. Now we'll say you're at 10 hours out of the day. Okay. There's still another 14. Okay. Let's assume you sleep 8 hours, right? That leaves you with a whole nother 6 hours left out of the day. Jeez Louise, math is pretty tough right now, apparently. So when you really think about it, 6 hours out of the day. Okay, 6 hours out of the day to do whatever you want. If you plan, while it doesn't seem like a whole lot of time, if you plan well, you can do some great things with that time, right? So I'm going to encourage you to put in the work, to stop and think about what you're doing and how you're doing it right now, right? What free time do you have? And you're going to say, oh man, I don't have much free time. You know, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, but it is. Everybody's got some time. I mean, I used to work a full 8 hours a day, and then I would go do a second job on the side that I was doing nonstop of, 5 days a week, and I didn't have a lot of time. But the reason why I didn't have a lot of time is because I put my effort and energy into doing this or that, right? I put my effort or energy into certain things. So we all have the ability to put our effort and energy into what we want. So take the time and think about it, right? And then go do the work. There's no substitute for the work. So think about the people right now when we're talking about work. Let's think about the people that have accomplished some amazing things in their life, right? Let's think about the people who we all admire, who we all look up to. The people as a child that you tend to want to emulate, right? You think about the musicians who are in these bands that are making millions and millions of dollars. You think about the athletes that are playing sports that are just, the best in the world at what they do. They're playing in a league, whatever league it is. Let's say the NFL or the NBA or the NHL or whatever it is, and they're playing in these leagues, and out of everybody in the world, they're playing with the 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 players in the league. Out of everybody that could be in that league, those are the people that are there. They're the best in the world. And then you think about the work that they put in, right? They're the ones that started at 5 years old, and they went outside and they shot baskets all day long, right? They're the ones that went out there and they practiced kicking the ball around all day long. They were at lunch, they were doing it. They were running around to school doing it. Everywhere they went, they were doing it. And then you think about the work that they put in right now. I heard that LeBron James, I read an article actually about him, that he put in, that he goes and he works out every day. That this guy put in over $1 million into his own personal health. And then you look at him and you look at his level of skill, and it makes sense, right? He's put in this crazy amount of effort and this crazy amount of work. And then it shows. And then you wonder why he gets the results that he does. And it's because the guy's relentless in the effort that he puts in to try to be the best that he can be at it, right? So think about it in your life. Think about the effort that you put into certain things, right? Maybe you're in a relationship that's phenomenal, and you maybe don't even realize you're doing it right now, but you're probably putting in the work to get it done. You know what I mean? Because no matter what it is, you gotta put in the work. Nothing's gonna happen if you just sit there and you're lazy about it. So, or maybe you're in a great job right now. Think about the job that you have right now, and then think about if you're putting in the amount of work that you should be putting in, right? Are you putting in the effort right now while you're at work? Are you going above and beyond to really, really get it done so much farther than anybody else would go that it's a foregone conclusion that you're gonna win when you go for the job interview, or that you're gonna win when you go to ask for that raise? Think about it. Think about the work that you put in. I think about it with people that I see, consistently, and I look at the work ethic that people put in, and I look at what they spend their time doing, and I know for a fact that when I look at people and I see it, I can tell you from experience that the people who put in the work, the people who go home and they study and they go to school and they put in the extra work while they're at work, and they put in the extra effort at work, I know for a fact that they always get the promotion. It just happens that way because they're so much more prepared, right? They've gained knowledge that other people don't have, that puts them one step farther ahead, right? And so when they go to ask for that raise or that job, and they go to that interview, they're just that much more prepared than the next person because they put in the work, right? They put in the time and the effort. So what are you doing? Are you putting in the time and effort? If you are, you're probably doing pretty well in life right now. And maybe not everywhere, but you're probably doing pretty well in some of the facets of your life. If you're not, or if you think your life isn't in a good place right now, or you want to change your life, then take a few minutes and think about it. Think about what you're doing. Block out some time for yourself to work on yourself, right? And to do the work for yourself. So, as I think about it now, I want you to think about the time that you have, like I said, okay? There's before work, there's lunchtime, there is after work, right? You go to your buddy's house. Instead of walking right in before you go in, take the 30 minutes and spend some time reading, right? That is probably the number one thing you can do that's gonna make a difference in your life. It's gonna make a difference with how things go. The only way to gain more knowledge is through learning it from somebody else, okay? Books are a great way to do that, okay? You're not gonna learn much from TV. It's a great escape, but you're probably not gonna learn much from it, okay? You pick up a book, you figure out one that's gonna work for what you wanna do, right? So if you wanna get into, let's say being a lawyer, right? I'll just use that as an example, it's the first one that came to my head. But if you wanna become a lawyer, right? You don't go sit in your car before work or after work and listen to the radio, okay? What good is that doing you, okay? You pick up a couple books, you go online, you do a little bit of research, and research is free at this point, okay? You can, just about everybody has a cell phone. Just about everywhere somebody can get to at least a public library, and you know what? They have computers you can use for free. So, you know, you may not want to do it, and you may say, oh, it's too hard, you know, I don't have the time. It's because you're not making the time or not willing to go the distance to get it done. You're not willing to put in the work, okay? So you go do a little bit of research, you figure out what it is in that field that you need to start looking at, and then you do it, right? You pick up a couple books on it and you start reading them, and you read them and you read them and you read them until you understand it. And then you'll sit there and you'll say to yourself, okay, like I get it, like that makes more sense to me. And as you do that consistently, you put in that work consistently and that effort consistently, you're gonna realize that over time you will have gained the skills and the knowledge that's necessary to be ready for whatever it is that you wanna go into, okay? So me personally, I read a lot of self-help books. I read books on public speaking. I read books on faith and spirituality. Put those two words together for you all. Made a new word. But you know, things that are kind of related to what I'm dealing with. I spend my time working on myself and trying to gain more knowledge, because that's what's going to help me move ahead. Okay, when you get ready for a job, you need to do the same thing, right? When you get ready to go into any job, if you don't have a job yet, you need to spend a few minutes, and I shouldn't even say a few minutes, you need to spend days and hours, and you need to get yourself prepared for it. You need to spend the time, and you need to look into that job, and you need to figure out what it's all about. And then you need to gain that knowledge about it. So you need to put in the work. Stop sitting on your butt and start putting in the work. There is no better way to get ahead, okay? So with that, I want you to really take some time now and think about it. You know, take the rest of the day and think about the time that you put in, the time that you have in your life, right? You can easily pop in a pair of headphones or put on a program while you're driving home or while you're driving to work, right? You don't even have to be sitting there in your car waiting and reading a book. You can download Audible. You can go to the library and get books on DVD or books on CD or books on tape still, okay? You can get that stuff still. And you can listen to it while you're driving to work. Let's say you got a 45-minute drive to work. You can listen to the radio, and that's cool and it's fun. Or you could be putting knowledge in your brain while you're doing it, right? So think about it. The only excuse you got is yourself, you know, and it's a hard one, and it's hard for people to understand that, and people don't want to admit it, but it's what it is. It's what it is. If you really stop and look at what's in front of you, I think you'll find that if you're real honest with yourself, that the reason why you are where you are is because of you. And if you want to go somewhere else, the only person who can do it for you is you, right? I can't do it for you. Your significant other can't do it for you. You know, your pastor or rabbi or whoever can't do it for you. They can't make you do anything. Okay, so it's up to you. So think about what I've said today. Think about how it relates to your life. Think about the things that you could do and the things you want to change. You know, do you want to change your life? Yes or no? And if you do, take a few minutes, think about what you want to change, and then maybe go write it down. Okay? Spend 5 minutes after this, write down the things that you want to change. After you've written it down, take a few minutes and think about what needs to change and how you're going to put in the work to get it done. Okay? What studying are you going to do? Okay? So let's say you want to change your relationship. Are you going to sit down, write that down? I want to change my relationship. Take a few minutes and start looking at books on relationships, right? Take a few minutes and think about it, and really do some research on relationships, right? And find the books that are highly rated by people and that have tons and tons of reviews, And then get a book and go out and read it, or get it on audio tape and go out and read it, or find the programs that are going to change your life and go out and listen to them. Start listening to the people and things that are going to make a difference in your life, and then choose to make a difference and put in the work. Just go out and do it, and you'll find that tomorrow probably won't be much different than today. Maybe tomorrow you'll now have a book, or you'll have an audio tape, or you will have signed up for audio books or something like that. And guess what? You'll think, oh man, I'm still the same person. And that's true, because you are, but you will find that you're doing something different than you were the day before. And you've already changed and you don't even see it in front of you, okay? Then you do that consistently, okay? You start with whatever it is. Okay, I'm gonna make it a point. I'm gonna listen to an audiobook every day when I go to work, right? And you listen to it and you listen to it and you listen to it, okay? Or I'm gonna read a book at lunch every day, or before work or after work for 30 minutes. I'm gonna do that. And you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and it becomes a habit. And next thing you know, it becomes you, and you are a different person. You're no longer the person that's sitting there, watching TV for 3 hours. You're now watching TV for 2.5 hours, and you're doing something else for 30 minutes that's putting in the work and the effort that's making a difference in your life, and your life starts to change. And I think that's what it really boils down to. If you want to make the change, you just do it, okay? And it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna be difficult, and it's gonna take some time. But eventually you'll get there. It'll become a habit, and it'll become the new norm for you. And then you will be somebody different, and you will find that things change in your life. So think about it. Have a great day. I'm glad that I got to spend this time with you. So thank you for being here. And next week, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to next week. I want to talk a little bit about fears and anxiety, and how that kind of translates into regular life. I want to bring you along with me at the climbing gym, and then next week I'm going climbing outdoors, which I don't get to do enough, but I love doing it, right? It's something that some of you may have done, some of you may not have done. I'll show you a little bit of footage on it, and you can come climbing outside with me. You can come climbing in the gym with me a little bit, and we'll go from there, and we'll talk about how that kind of relates to fear and anxiety, and how fear kind of controls your life, and how it affects everything you do in your life, and how you can try to change it and kind of wrangle fear and harness it, and then use it, for your own good. Okay? So thank you, and have a wonderful morning and a wonderful day.